Hello students, welcome to the Learning Management System organized by Department of Collegiate and Technical Education, and I am taking first session on specifications, the unit number 2 of the subject estimation and costing. Today in this session I am covering the following topics. The topic starts with introduction to specification, types of specifications, followed by detailed explanation on how to create specification for the activities such as earthwork in excavation, cement concrete in foundation, brick masonry and RCC work, reinforced cement concrete work. Specification is an elaborated way of explanation of a material, of a work. In the world, starting from a small pin to the materials used in the rocket space technology, every material has got its own norms, standards and specifications. So in general, specification means if you are going for a mobile shop to purchase a mobile, you will ask the shopkeeper a mobile, immediately you ask what is the specification you need or what is the amount you need. Immediately you are going to reply with the specification. I want a mobile of this megapixel camera and this storage quantity. In the same manner, in the construction industry also, all the activities in the building will be having a detailed specification about how to do the job and what materials to be used. How to do the job, it is called as workmanship. Okay, in industry, workers will be involved in doing the job, and how skillfully he is doing the job is called as workmanship. And what are the qualities of materials that has to be used? These two will be explained in written format for each item in connection with drawings and details. So drawings are nothing but architectural drawings, structural drawings which are used for successfully complete a construction project. In the building planning drawing, you have done drawings, you have done plans, you have done elevations, you have done sections. So these are the communication between engineers. These are required for transformation of the plan from the paper to the ground. And in addition to it, specification document plays a major role in finalizing the cost or budget of the project and how to do the job. So drawings and specification forms the two important documents of contract. Whenever a project has been called for bidding, a contractor refers these two documents to prepare his rate analysis for a specific item. The cost of the work depends on specifications. Say for example, I have asked you to provide a concrete. Okay, I am just, and also I am asking to lay flooring. When I am going to say to lay flooring, immediately the question raises which type of flooring. For cement concrete floor or the ceramic tile floor or vitrified floor, the cost is little lower compared to marble floor and granite flooring. So in specification you are just nominating as flooring, it leads to confusions. If you are going to specify marble flooring, the cost of work will be more, and if you are going to say the cement concrete flooring, the value will be less. So the specification, the cost of the job depends upon specifications. Specification also depends on nature of work. So nature of work means when we are going to construct a multi-storied building of 10 floors, There is one activity called column concrete or slab concrete. First we are going to put column concrete at the ground floor level. As and when the floor rises, the column concrete has to be put to first floor, second floor, third floor. And the specification and rates are not common for putting the concrete in the ground floor and in the top floor, because in the ground floor there is no transportation of material, and in the 10th floor we need to transport the concrete from ground to 10th floor, means it will be of 100 feet. 100 feet the material has to be pumped or lifted. So where I am going to put the concrete material load, that is nature of work. Next, purpose of work. Purpose of work means how important the structure is. I am going to put concrete to a RCC drain which will be provided adjacent to roads for conveying the water, and I am going to put the concrete to a building for construction. So in both the cases the concrete is used, but in the drain the concrete is not going to take any load, but in the building it is going to take the major load. So the quality factor and the seriousness of that work will be more in building compared to the drain. So purpose of work depends much. And strength of the materials. In the specification I am going to ask to supply concrete, and immediately we have to specify which grade of concrete we have to supply. That is, the specification depends upon the strength of the materials. If I am going to ask him M20 grade of concrete, the nominal proportion for M20 is 1:1.5:3, and if I am going to ask him M40 grade, I have to go for a design mix. As and when the grades of concrete will be higher, the consumption of cement will also be higher and the rates will also be higher. So in the specification, what strength of material I am expecting, that has to be clearly specified. And the last factor is availability of materials. There is one building block called laterite stone, which is available only in the coastal belts of Karnataka, say for example Mangalore, Udupi. This laterite stone is occurring naturally in the ground. This will be cut to the required shape and will be used as building block, just like your bricks and blocks. When I am going to construct a building in Ballari or Raichur, and I am going to specify that the walls has to be constructed with laterite stone, then it involves a huge amount of cost for transportation. It has to be transported from Mangalore to Ballari or Mangalore to Bangalore, anyway. So we have to take care of the availability of the material while deciding the specification for the item. So these are the four important attributes for has to be addressed very carefully while preparing a specification. Generally, specifications are of two types: general specification and detailed specification. General specifications will be given for smaller works, and general specifications I am not going to say the item in much detail. I am just giving a general idea about that item. I am just giving the nature, and I am just explaining the class of the work and the materials that has to be used. Say for example, if I am going to say concrete, apply concrete floor, flooring and compact it of M20 grade. So this is general specification. But for the same concrete in detailed specification, I am going to say how much quantities it will be, and what is the minimum cement content that has to be used, what is the aggregate content that has to be used, how the mixing should be done, whether it has to be done in mixer machine, or it has to be done in hand, or it has to be batched in a plant, and what is the type of compaction, whether it has to be done in needle or it has to be rammed, and what is the finishing I am expecting, either it is a broom finish or fine finish. So in detail, and also the makes of the cement, which companies make, I am going to expect. All these things will be given in the detailed specification. So by another 1 year, you are in 5th semester, by another 1 year you all be in engineers. If you are going to site or for construction of a building or a road, you will call as site engineer. In the initial days, you will be guided by a senior engineer. But as and when day passes, you have to start working independently. At that point of time, the specification guides you to how to do the job. You have to study the specification of each item, and yourself you have to prepare a frame of idea about how to do this job, because you have to get the job by skilled or unskilled laborers who are uneducated, who doesn't have any idea about how the job has to be done. So you have to get the job from them. So at that time, specification stands as a guide for you to complete the job. So now, how to create a specification? So I am going to explain now how to create excavation for earthwork, as earthwork excavation is the first and foremost activity for any construction project. After surveying and after leveling, earthwork excavation is the first and foremost activity. So earthwork excavation involves the following concepts. First one is excavation. So in this picture you can see we have constructed grid pillars leaving 1 to 1.5 meter space from the building excavated line, and excavation is also done. This is called as mass excavation, where the complete earth material has been taken off from the complete building area. And in this picture, first picture, you can see number 1, the manual laborers are lifting the soil by manually. Okay, so this is called isolated type of excavation, and the right side picture is called as mass excavation. In the isolated, you are going to have some gap for conveying the earth, concrete or any materials. Second one is finish of trench, and finds what happens when water is in the foundation, how to fill the trench, and how to take the measurement. So these are the 6 important attributes that has to be explained for excavation. Let us discuss it in detail. Excavation. Always the foundation trenches has to be dug or to be excavated exactly to width and the depth mentioned by the drawing. You are going to see the excavation layout. Excavation layout gives the exact width and depth of the foundation that has to be dug, and you have to make the sides vertical. The sides should not be sloper, it has to be truly vertical, and the depth of foundation should be exactly matched with the drawing. If you are digging more earth, if the depth is more, other than the drawing, then your consumption of column concrete will be more, because this amount will not be provided by the building owner, because you have violated the drawing and you have exceeded more. And also to compensate it, you should not refill the earth, because the earth would not be consolidated instantly, and after your foundation there will be settlements. So whenever the depth will be exceeded, you have to fill back with concrete at the price of the contractor. So there are some situations where you are going to get poor soil, that is, the soil is not having good friction, and also soil is failing by shear, or it is in loose state, or if you are going to dig little deeper. So in that situations, usually you are going to encounter one common problem or one common accident, that is, the soil at the sides will be collapsing into the pit. If some people are working in the pit, it will fall on their heads, then there will be a major accidents. So in that cases, you have to provide shoring, means you have to provide timber shoring to the sides, or you have to not provide vertical sides, you should slope back the sides. The bottom of the trench should be plain or should be leveled by manually, because if you are doing the excavation by machine can't level it accurately, so you are going to put some manual labors and make it leveler. in a longitudinal and transverse direction. This is called as finishing of trench. If you are going to find any kind of valuable property when you are excavating, then it has to be compulsorily handed over to the government. If you are going to find any architectural or archaeological ornaments, it has to be surrendered. And this is one more challenge you are going to encounter when there is water in foundation. So water in foundation means if the water table is little higher, if you are going to dig the earth, suddenly the water comes from the bottom and from the sides. This is because the water table is higher. And even if you are going for deep foundation, water accumulates inside the pit. This poses a big headache, means it's not going to allow to work further. You can't do anything until and unless the water is pumped out from the pit. So the pit will be cleared of the water using a pump, using a foot pipe. This should also be included in the specification. Trench filling. After all the foundation work has been done, that is, you have laid sandstone masonry for foundation or footings or columns, plinth beams, all the below ground works are completed. Again you have to refill the earth, available earth, not earth should not be brought outside, available earth if the soil is good, and the surplus earth has to be transported to the place where the client will show you the place, or the building owner where the shows to dispose the earth, there you are going to dispose of. Earthwork is always measured in cubic meters, that is, you are going to measure the length, you are going to measure the width, and you are going to measure the depth of the foundation, if it is plain or if it is a shorter area. If it is a big area and it involves large of undulations, then you have to take block leveling. Block leveling you have learnt in survey. You are going to prepare perpendiculars and at a regular intervals of 5 meters, and at the corners you are going to take the levels. This is the existing ground level, and after excavation you are going to get the final level. The existing ground level minus the final level will give you the depth, which will be variable if the ground is undulated, and the average depth will give you, multiplied by length and width, will give you the volume. So always earthwork will be measured in cubic meter, but if you are going to excavate only the surface up to 30 centimeter, 15 to 30 centimeter, then the measurement will be in square meters. So these are the 6 attributes that has to be addressed very carefully while preparing a specification for earthwork. The second important activity after earthwork is cement concrete in foundation. Cement concrete in foundation is called a bed concrete in general words. It's a plain cement concrete. It is provided for leveling the surface of the ground and also to act as a barrier between the upcoming foundation and the below ground, because when you are going to put RCC footings, columns, there has to be one barrier. If it comes in close contact with the earth, the steel is going to crowd inside the structure. So this is the bed concrete. There will be a side shuttering, there will be no border shuttering, only side shuttering, and concrete will be filled. These are the different attributes that will be addressed in detail for explaining this specification. Materials, what are the materials that will be used, proportion and mixing, laying and compacting, formwork and curing. Finally, the how to take the measurement. So here the first and foremost raw material that is required for preparing concrete is cement. Cement, we have to use fresh cement, because the older cement will, there will be reduction in the strength of the cement. So as far as possible we have to consume the fresh cement, and it should comply with the Indian standard specifications. Indian standard specifications means it has to comply with the physical tests that we have done. You have learnt in MT lab how to do sieve analysis test, fineness of cement, setting time. So whatever the standards are there as per, yes, it has to comply with that. And aggregates, we are using fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. Fine aggregate shall be natural sand, or in today's world we are going to use manufactured sand abundantly. The fine aggregate should be clean. There should not be any kind of leaves or some other matter, organic matter that is there, because it avoids the bonding between concrete, and it should be durable. The usual size of coarse aggregate that will be used is 40 mm. Nowadays 20 mm is also used for bed concrete, and the aggregate which you are selecting also comply the Indian standard specifications, that is abrasion, that may be your crushing strength, sieve analysis, and also it should be tough, hard and durable. We have to add water for cement for hydration reaction, for having a bond between these particles, for binding properties. So water that has to be used should be a potable water, that is drinking water quality standards. And admixture is one more component that is common in today's concrete for altering the properties of concrete. It will provide workability to concrete, it will provide accelerating setting to concrete, it will retard the concrete, it will super plasticize the concrete, increasing the workability, or if you want to increase the strength, it will consume lesser water. So there are different properties of this admixture. This is also one more ingredient. These are the different materials that is used for preparing plain cement concrete. The concrete, each and every material has to be provided with suitable proportion. Means you have studied in the first memo materials of construction, that is about different grades of concrete starting from M10 up to M40, M60, and up from M10 to M25 it is called as nominal mix. Nominal mix means you are going to have one proportion. Say for example, if you are going to have a concrete of M20, the grade will be 1:1.5:3, means 1 part of cement, 1.5 part of fine aggregate and 3 part of coarse aggregate will be mixed together to form a concrete. That proportion we have to specify particularly in excavation. If it is being mixed by hand, it should be mixed on a non-absorbent surface, non-sticky surface. Some suitable platform should be used. First I am going to mix cement and sand or fine aggregate in a dry form, then it is mixed with aggregates, and finally the water is added and turned at least 3 times for getting a consistent mix. And suitable admixture could also be used for making the concrete workable. After proportioning and after mixing by hand, there is another methods of mixing that is called as by mixer machine. You can see in this picture where all the materials, coarse aggregate, fine aggregate and cement will be fed in that hopper. Hopper transfers through the mixture and suitable quantity of water is added to the mixture, and then around 1 to 2 minutes there will be rotation of the drum which mixes all the materials and makes a consistent mix. And there are other methods. Batching plants are there for mixing of the concrete by an automated method without involving any kind of manual labor. After proportioning and after mixing, the concrete will be laid with the formwork, and the concrete should not be dumped or it should not be dropped above the height of 0.6 to 1 meter, because segregation will be there. And concrete should be laid in layers of 20 centimeter, because if you are going to add more, then there will be compaction will be become difficult, because your vibrator needle is not going to go into it and there will be no compaction. If there is no compaction, more voids, this voids decreases the strength of the hardened concrete, so compaction will be done. And formwork shall be as per the depth of the concrete. That is, usually we are going to use plywood and aluminium material for formwork, and this formwork is made up of plywood sheets. And for plain cement concrete, we are going to use only for the sides, not for the bottom, for the depth of the concrete required. After 1 day of the casting of the concrete, the concrete should be cured. Cured means I am applying water to the surface of the concrete for continuing that chemical reaction of hydration. So it will be cured for 7 days. Usually the concrete will be cured for 7 days minimum. Whether we are going to do pond curing or it will be sprayed through hose pipe. And the measurement will be taken in cubic meter for plain cement concrete. If the thickness is lesser than 50 mm, it may be in square meters. But usually in majority of cases, the plain cement concrete will be measured in cubic meters. So these are the 6 to 7 attributes that has to be addressed very carefully while preparing the specification for excavation. Or for PCC, plain cement concrete. After PCC, we have to provide foundation to the structure. Foundation, if it is a load bearing structure, we are going to use size stone masonry. If it is a frame structure, we are going to use column beam type. In size stone masonry, the major raw material that will be used is size stones and cement mortar. Cement mortar is nothing but mixture of cement and sand, and suitable quantity of water is also added for consistency of the cement mortar and also the rate of hydration reaction, how to lay, how to cure that, and how to measure. These are the 7 attributes. The first and foremost is raw material is cement. As explained earlier, it should be a fresh Portland cement of standard specifications. The stones will be obtained from quarry. So then from the quarries, these size stones are brought and they are chiseled or hammered to the required shape, because the surface should not be uneven and the height of that stone should be 200 mm more or less. It should not be more variable, the height of the stones, because since they are all not machine cut, they are manually cut. And the stone should be very hard, it should be tough, and there should be no cracks or no unevenness on the minimum unevenness on the surface. And also you have to procure bond stones. Bond stones are provided at 2 meter interval for creating bonding in the masonry. For preparing cement mortar, we require sand. The qualities of sand has been explained in the earlier slide. It has to be free from organic matter. It should be clean and durable. What is mortar? Mortar is nothing but combination of cement and fine aggregate. So this mix will be proportioned in the manner of 1:2, 1:3 or 1:6. That is 1 part of cement or 3 parts of sand. And the cement mortar should be, first the cement and sand should be mixed in dry condition. Later on the water will be added to the required consistency, and it has to be mixed in solid and clean platform with at least 3 times it has to be turned. After that, laying will be done. First a line dowry will be held between the 2 stones along the length, and then the stones are arranged adjacent to one another, leaving a clear gap of 20 mm. So before that, the stones has to be made wet, because if the stones are not wet, then it is going to consume the water that is there in the cement mortar. A joint of minimum 20 mm will be maintained for the stone masonry, and lot of gap will be created between the stones in the transverse manner, not longitudinal manner, and that gap should not be completely filled with mortar. If it is completely filled with mortar, lots of shrinkage cracks will happen. So we are going to fill the interstices by stone chips. These stone chips are nothing but stones which are of smaller size, of the order of 25 mm, 35 mm at random sizes obtained from quarry, and they are provided filled inside the interstices, avoiding the thicker bits of joints and mortar. After 1 day of setting, curing will be done for the masonry for 7 days. It is kept moist for 7 days. The curing will be done by the hose pipe. Size stone masonry will be measured in cubic meters. We are going to take the total length of the size stone wall, and I am going to take the width and the depth. So these are the attributes which has to be explained clearly while preparing the specification for SSM. Next, another activity is brickwork. There are three classes of brickwork: first class, second class and third class. And the class of the brick denotes the quality of the brick that is being brought. Usually in the buildings we are going to take table molded bricks which will be sharper in size. These are the different attributes which will be addressed for preparing the specification, that is materials, proportion of mortar we used, soaking of bricks and how to lay the bricks, and scaffolding and curing and measurement. In the picture you can see structure bond has been laid, the structure face is coming in the front and the joints are not one above the other. That has to be observed very carefully. And a spirit level is being used for checking the level of the wall. The bricks used shall be as per IS specifications, that is Indian Standard Specifications. Indian Standard Specifications means bricks should be sharper, edges should be sharp, they should be standard in size, there should not be cracks in the bricks. If the two bricks are hit, then should be a ringing sound, the color should be red in color. There are different specifications. And immediately when the bricks are brought, before 12 hours it has to be soaked in water. And the proportion of mortar that has to be used for construction is 1:6, and in some cases it will be 1:4, depends upon the strength you require. The quantity of mortar, you should not prepare the mortar for the whole day. Whatever the mortar you are going to prepare, it should be consumed within 30 minutes. Otherwise, there will be setting of cement mortar and it will be not workable. So, this should be kept in mind. So, what is soaking of bricks? If the bricks are not burnt well, then if it is in water, if you are going to take out from the water after 12 hours, it will disintegrate. Means the bricks are not well burnt and the strength is not good. So, and also the bricks are wet, made wet for avoiding the consuming of water from the cement mortar. So the bricks, there are different types of bonds. Bonds are nothing but the laying pattern. As in the last slide I show you the pattern, that is called as stretcher bond. Usually we are going to lay it in English bond, that is in each row the bricks will be laid in longitudinal and transverse directions. That is called English bond. While constructing, each course should be truly horizontal and it has to be truly plumb, means it has to be perfectly vertical. The verticality should be maintained. If it is not in plumb, then the next layer is plastering. It involves lot of quantity of plaster. Again, there it will be costlier for the contractor. So, while construction itself, you have to check the verticality, and also you should not construct more than 1 meter per day, because otherwise it would collapse since the mortar will not be setting. If you are going to construct the wall at higher heights, above the height of 1 meter, you have to provide scaffolding. Scaffolding is nothing but a supporting system for working in the higher heights, which will be made of aluminum or mild steel frames. And also safety belt should be hooked to the scaffolding for arresting the fall of the person. The brickwork will be cured for 10 days and the measurement will be in cubic meter. If you are going to construct the wall in 1 brick thick, 1 brick thick means the width of the wall is 230 millimeter. The brick length itself is 230 millimeter, that is called 1 brick thick. Half brick thick means 105 or 105 to 150. So what the standard of measurement says, if you are going to construct a half brick thick wall, or if the width of the wall is less than 10 centimeter, we have to take the measurement in square meters. It is not measured in cubic meters. So these are the different attributes that has to be addressed for brickwork. And also the compressive strength for first class brickwork is 105 kg per centimeter square, and normally in buildings we are going to expect a strength of 35 kg per centimeter square. Another activity in construction of a building is reinforced cement concrete. Reinforced cement concrete is nothing but concrete where steel will be introduced in between it. That is called as reinforced. In the picture you can see the concrete is pumped for a building from a pipeline from the bottom, and concrete being poured on the slab, and vibrator is applied for compaction. So in the high rise structures there will be tower cranes for lifting the concrete from the bottom, and we are going to use that is called as bucket for lifting of the concrete. Either it will be a pipeline system or it will be a bucket system. And you can see how the reinforcement has been placed. It is not being come in contact with earth for avoiding the corrosion. So basically reinforced cement concrete, what are the attributes? Materials, centering and shuttering, which is going to give the shape, proportion, mixing and laying, compaction, finishing, curing and measurement. These are the 8 attributes. Materials, there are 2 important materials, that is cement concrete and reinforcement. Cement concrete we have explained elaborately in the earlier sites. So coming to reinforcement, in the picture you can see there are 3 types of components of a building, that is column, footing and beam. In column you are going to place the reinforcement in a vertical and also in transverse manner. The rings which are provided in transverse manner are called as stirrups, and in the footing you have provided a lap, means the available size from the shop of the steel is length is 11 to 12 meters. When it is come to the site, it will be straightened, it will be cut to the required height. You can't stand the reinforcement up to 12 meters, it will fall. So you are going to make it half, or you are making little shorter, and also it depends on the span also. And then one and another reinforcement will be joined together, that is called as lapping. You can see in the footing it has been lapped, and the lapped length depends upon the diameter of the steel. It may be 40 times diameter, 30 times diameter as per the norms and specifications. The reinforcement that will be used should be cold twisted deformed or thermomechanically treated bars, and it should be free from corrosion, and no oil or grease should be in the surface of the steel, because this oil and grease doesn't provide good bond to the concrete and induce some cracks in the concrete surfaces. So, and the joints should be as far as avoided. I can say in a reinforced structure the weakest points is the joints. We should completely avoid joints, but in an inevitable case we have to provide sufficient lapping. So the bars will be hooked, bent, no crack should occur when you are going to do this process, and it should be placed as per the drawing. You are going to get a bar, you have to prepare a bar bending schedule, means what is the diameter of the bar you have to place, what is the length of that, and what is the stirrups size. All these things you have to read carefully, and you have to guide to the bar bender. All these components are tied together using a binding wire, and it will be transported to the required place, and the concrete will be done. And you are going to provide covering blocks for not exposing the reinforcement to the atmosphere. So this is called reinforcement. So concrete is in reinforcement cement concrete. Nowadays IS has made a mandatory of minimum grade of concrete M25. So the concrete, it depends upon the grade, 1:1:2 or M20, 1:1.5:3, which grade you are using. And one more thing, that is the surface which is going to provide shape is centering and shuttering. Centering and shuttering provides shape to the concrete. Concrete is just a man-made rock, and this shuttering gives a shape to it. So it will be for columns casting, for slab casting, for all the purpose, centering and shuttering will be necessary. It consists of steel plates or plywood sheets. It consists of steel plates or plywood sheets which are joined together adjacently one another, and these sheets will be supported by props. That is, you can see in this picture, all the plates or the plywood sheets are joined together, and the gap will be masked by masking tape, and the person here is oiling the sheets. The surface will be oiled to avoid the stickiness of concrete to the surface. Here the vertical posts are called as the standards or props, and these individual props are tied to one another by suitable braces. Those are called as ledgers for maintaining the verticality and also for the lateral stability. Above these props, spans will be there. This is the span. This span will support the upcoming slab, shuttering or sheets, plywoods or beams. All the things will be supported by these spans. Further span to props to the ground. So centering and shuttering will be placed. For placing the concrete, this has to be explained in detail for specification. Next, proportion. So whether it is M20, M25 or M30, above M25 it is a design mix. So for volume batching means I am going to follow, if 1:1:2 is the proportion, 1 box of cement, 1 box of fine aggregate, 2 box of coarse aggregate. That is called as volume batching. There is one more type of batching called by weight, that is 350 kg of cement, 350 kg of fine aggregate and 700 kg of coarse aggregate, because 1:1:2, that is called as weigh batching. So it will be mixed. For volume batching, this standard measurement box will be used of length 381 mm, width 305 and height 305, in order to avoid the variation in the proportion from the explained specification. The concrete will be mixed either by hand, either by a mixer machine or either by a batching plant. Suitable admixture will be used, and compaction will be done by vibrator. A 16 mm needle vibrator will be used to avoid the voids in the concrete, to make the concrete denser, because for beam depth 200 mm, for 300 mm, 400 mm, 600 mm, when you are going to pour the concrete to the beam, you have to place the needle up to the bottom, and you should not do more vibration. It will create segregation or bleeding in concrete. And the finishing is very important in concrete, because after the concrete surface, finished surface, column or slab bottom or slab top, if it is a slab top, flooring will come, slab bottom plastering will come, and it's better that you have to finish the concrete in such a way, in such a level that it should not require more than 6 mm of plaster. Very important is curing. Curing will be done from 14 to 21 days, and if it is a column, then gunny bags will be applied all over the surface, and if it is a slab, ponding will be done. Reinforcement is measured in cubic meters, the total length of the slab multiplied by width of the slab and the depth. So these are the different attributes for reinforced cement concrete. So in this session I had a detailed discussion regarding what is specification, types of specification, importance of specification in deciding the cost of an item, and the documents such as drawings and specifications, which are very important for bidding of a contract, and also how to create specification for the different items involved in the construction of a building. It may be earthwork, PCC, size stone masonry, brick masonry and reinforced cement concrete. I am presenting before you some multiple choice questions. You have to answer it. First question is, the concrete work for following part of the building of specified thickness is measured in square meters. Means the thickness will be specified. A, roof slab, B, roof beam, C, RCC chejja, or D, all of the above. So here roof slab will be measured in cubic meters, and beams also it will be more in depth. It is measured in cubic meter. RCC chejja, I am going to specify the height of the chejja usually will be less than 50 mm, so it is measured in square meters. Second question is the rate of an item of work depends on. When you are going to fix a rate for specific item, what are the matters you are going to look into? Whether you are going to look specification of work, specification of material, or proportion of the mix, or all of them. I am going to consider all the three for the finalizing the rate. I want the specification of material which make, I want to the specification of work, what is the quality of work expecting, and proportion of mixing. These three factors contribute to the rate of a work. Pick the wrong statement. First statement is the quantity of mortar that could be used within 1 hour should be prepared at a time. B, C and D. Here in the first he says the quantity of mortar that is required for 1 hour I am going to prepare time. Every course that shall be truly horizontal and vertical while you are going to construct masonry. Bricks should be completely soaked in water for 12 hours before use, and brickwork shall be in cubic meter. The right answer is the first one. The quantity of mortar within 30 minutes we should consume it, I had told you, because the setting starts. So here it is telling 1 hour, so A is the wrong statement. And you want the masonry to be truly horizontal and plumb, explained in B. You want the brick should be soaked in before 12 hours for checking the disintegration of strength of the brick, and also it is measured in cubic meters. So pick the wrong statement. A, the measurement of masonry work will be in square meters, size stone masonry. The interstices or the gap between the stones will be filled with stone chips. Stone, while constructing stone masonry, the joint should not exceed 20 mm, and the D, the masonry shall be wet for 7 days. So the right answer is A, because the size stone masonry will always be measured in cubic meter, not in square meters. Next question. The main factor to be considered while preparing a detailed estimate: quantity of material, availability of material, transportation of material. Detailed estimate means the elaborated estimation of a building. All the three you are going to consider quantity, about transportation and availability before deciding the rate of an item. So in preparing a detailed estimate, all the three will be contributing. So sixth question, brick walls are measured in square meter if the thickness of the wall is A, option A 10 centimeter, option B 15 centimeter, option C 20 centimeter, option D none of the above. Brick walls are measured in cubic meter if the width of the wall is more than 10 centimeter, that is more than 10 centimeter. So the right answer is A. Seventh question, the brick work is not measured in cubic meter in case of one or more than one brick wall, brickwork in arches, reinforced brickwork, and option D half brick wall. Yes, in the last question also I told that if the width of the wall is less than 10 centimeter, it will be in square meter. Here option D is the right answer. If I am going to construct half brick wall which is less than 230 mm, 230 mm is the length of the brick, divided by 2 is 115. So if it is a half brick wall, it will be measured in square meters. And the eighth question is, pick up the excavation where measurements are made in square meters for the payment. If you want to pay, I want to pay for excavation, but yes, when I am going to take it in square meters. It is ordinary excavation for up to 1 meter, excavation up to 15 centimeter depth, excavation up to 30 centimeter depth, or option D both B and C. Option D is the right answer. As I told in the initial slides. All the excavation done up to 30 centimeter will be measured in square meters. So 9th question. While preparing a detailed estimate, dimension should be measured correct to 0.01 meter. Option B, area should be measured correct to 0.01 square meter. Option C, volume should be measured correct to 0.01 cubic meter, or D, all of the above. Option D, all the options are you have to follow. When you are going to measure, for example, 10 meter in length by a tape, again if I am going to, somebody is going to check the measurement, they should not violate more than 1 centimeter. If it is more than 1 centimeter, then you have taken the wrong measurement, then it has to be repeated, the measurement has to be repeated. In the same manner, area also, if I am going to calculate length into breadth, if it is exceeding or decreasing, increasing or decreasing by 0.01 square meters, then it will be a mistake. Again it has to be rework or remeasurements has to be done. And the last question is, for the construction of buildings, the subheads of the estimator. When you are going to prepare an estimate, the heading will be estimate of buildings, and what are the subheadings? Option A, earthwork, concrete work, brickwork. Option B, brickwork, stonework, roofing work. Option C, brickwork, woodwork, steelwork, and option D, all of the above. Option D is the right answer, because all the activities what he has mentioned in the options are subheads. Their specification will be different, and the quantities will also be different, and the item is also different. So these are the concepts or contents which I have discussed from the past 1 hour, and I thank you one and all. Thank you.